So I wash my car pretty often because in Maine the weather's not good. Not good all the time. So it doesn't get that dirty, but it gets really dusty. But I kind of figured out a little system that's pretty close to what everybody else is doing. I usually clean the wheels first. I don't rinse them because I want the solution on there to be concentrated to break down that brake dust and all the grime and all that. I mean, that's pretty good. But I mean, after I go over it, just hit it with some water. I mean, look at that. It's like making it a brand new wheel again. You also want to make sure you like rinse the crap out of it. Get all the solution off. You don't want that solution to just dry on the car onto the wheels. It'll just destroy the finish. A lot of loud, stupid trucks going by. A lot of trucks that are super loud, but not fast at all. You know, my car's pretty loud. I've done what I can to make it quieter. I know it's not the fastest thing in the world. All it has is an exhaust, pretty much. So, it's not that fast. And to be clear, I'm talking about the ones that are slow. Alright, I know there's plenty of like supercharged, turbo, LS3 swapped 1500s and all that. 6.2s. I understand, those things are fast. But I'm talking about the ones that are just went to the muffler shop and cut everything out. Just have a straight pipe headers. Or just straight pipe. So per my last video, I got a few comments from Colby, who did me a solid. He wrote down what he thinks I should talk about. A couple of interesting topics. So I'm gonna go read them and go over them. Colby's question was, what are my thoughts on public schooling and would I send my kids, or not would I send my kids there, or what would I do to change it? So, I've been homeschooled my whole life, pretty much. I went to a Christian school till 3rd grade, and then my parents pulled me out because they wanted me to try homeschooling. And homeschooling was definitely my thing. I really liked it. I really felt like it was pretty cool that I could just get everything done myself and kind of just be done when I'm done, not have to kind of wait around. Not that I was like some kind of genius or anything, but I just like the accountability of it, even from like a young age. I think it definitely helped me with like being accountable and responsible, because like you could just like not do any of your school the whole day, just play video games and kind of, you know, just procrastinate, not really do anything, and you'd be kind of you'd be kind of okay, you know? You could probably fake it. It's a lot easier to cheat and stuff. So I definitely don't think homeschooling's for everyone. That's for sure. I think there's a lot of people that need to be like kicked in the butt by a teacher all the time. And as long as you can be accountable, responsible and accountable as much as a young child could be, you know, still in school, you could do pretty well in homeschooling. I think homeschooling is not perfect, but it gives definitely a lot more freedom of like creativity. And I know, you know, what state I'm from probably has a lot of different laws, but pretty much like your guardian or your parent is your teacher, or whoever they assign as your teacher, and they basically have judgment on what your curriculum is. And I played instruments. I played violin and I played piano. I still play both of them. I'm definitely a lot more focused on violin. I feel a lot more gifted in violin. Part of the fact that like I quit playing piano halfway through when I was like 8 years old, but I picked it up a little bit later. But it's not the same as when you're younger learning it. It just kind of sticks to your brain. Your brain's like a sponge when you're younger, and once you get older, it kind of solidifies. It doesn't want to learn as easy, but it's still possible. I'm just like kind of lazy, to be honest. But like I was saying, homeschooling was great. I definitely, if everybody could be, you know, accountable and do the right thing as a kid, which is asking a lot of a kid, I think that everyone would like really thrive being homeschooled. But not everyone's like that. Some people are childish and some people want to just procrastinate and stuff. And that's not always the best thing for a kid to have the freedom to be able to do. But I guess I'm also talking about it in the same vein as like how I was doing it. My mom would kind of like leave us with our program. I did Bob Jones University programming, and they're more like video based. So I'd watch a video and then there'd be a test or whatever. And I really liked it. And she could kind of like, it'd be like kind of like it was like what is that school online now called? Man, why am I blanking on this? You know what I'm talking about, man. What's that schooling called? It's not schooling, it's just a program that they use. It's instead of like Discord. Whatever. I'm blanking on it right now, but I know what it is. People always do like pranks and stuff. They'll join like a classroom or whatever. But yeah, it's kind of like a virtual classroom before that was a thing. Because I graduated in 2020, so my school was like in the early 2010s. So there wasn't much to offer for like virtual online schooling, I guess. Nonetheless, I really liked it. So my mom could kind of sit us down and have like a virtual teacher kind of take care of us, right? So like we watch the video, we take the test, we do everything that, you know, we're supposed to do, and then it grades us also by like what the answer we got was right. And it was good because like I'd get good grades. I was like, you know, a little child, so I didn't really know how to cheat in school. But yeah, it was great. If you want to learn, you know, if your mind's in the right place, if your heart's in the right place, it's great. My nephew, he's homeschooled. He's like one of the smartest kids I know. Because it's almost like homeschooling makes you want to learn, you know? Because you're not like being made to learn in a way. you can also like choose your curriculum more so. Like you can have actual, count going to your music teacher as music class. Like that's pretty good. You get to do more stuff. You get to have more of a malleable kind of schedule as a kid, which is great. Get to go skiing, get to do all those kind of little things that, my friends who went to school, I'd get to go to the mountain like early in the day, then I'd have to wait for them till they got there in the evening. And they'd only have a couple hours of skiing while I'd be there like all day. So that's a plus. But I definitely encourage people to look into it before they jump to send their kid to public school or something like that. I think public school back in the day, obviously, was probably better. In my freshman year, my mom wanted me to go to high school, like a real high school, instead of just continuing the homeschooling stuff. And she's just like, go try the schooling out, and whatever works, So I went. I had been already, homeschooled from grade 3, so I started in 3rd grade, and then 4th grade, 5th grade, 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade, I was homeschooled. And then she's like, just go try it, go give it a shot. So I did. I went for 2 days, and I was like, this is not for me. I was pretty sheltered, I was in a very, traditional community, and there's not very many, even broken marriages from, as much as I could remember as a kid. So, going out into the world as, a child, kind of seeing, these kids are, talking about drugs as freshmen and stuff. I'm like, man, where am I? I thought I was getting sent to a school, not a gang. So, my focus was, learning and stuff. I go here expecting to be, in an amazing school. And then I end up just getting kind of, traumatized. Because I'm like, man, what's going on here? I was not prepared for it. So, I go to school for a couple days. Then, I get out of school on the second day. I'm just telling my parents, I'm like, man, I can't do this no more. It's kind of funny because it was only 2 days. But I had made my decision, and I'm very stubborn because I feel like I know what's right, and I just kind of stick to it no matter what. Obviously, if I'm proved wrong, I'm not going to stick to it. I'm not a moron, but definitely inclined to be, I know what I like, and I'm going to like what I like only kind of deal. But, yeah, I told my parents, I don't want to be in the school anymore. Take me out. It's public school, so you can just leave. So, I never graduated from that school. Then, my mom had a great idea. She's like, hey, there was another Christian school that a lot of my friends were going to. And at that point, I had already been, pretty discouraged from trying anything new just because of what happened. And even though I knew everyone there at the Christian school, I went and I still just absolutely hated it. I think it also has to do in part of I was super anxious and stuff at this time of my life. I was not feeling good every single day, just almost borderline depressed. And I think that definitely didn't help with my opinion on the schooling. But the question wasn't what I think. I mean, it was what I think, but I think there's a larger emphasis on what would I do to change it. I think the easy answer to that, obviously, is like, I feel like you can see a steady decline of like school quality of life, I guess, since they took God out of schools, you know? The schools are completely godless, and, you know, America as a country used to be a Christian country, you know, that's what everyone's faith was, to whatever extent that someone has faith, because, like, you know, there's a ton of people that say, you know, I'm Christian, they go to Christmas, Easter church services, and that's their Christianity. Once they leave that Easter service, they're done till Christmas. And you know, that's not real. So, but the foundation was still there somewhat, you know? God was still in the schools. It was still, the Bible was still taught. Everything was still orientated. Really showing my homeschool knowledge here. Everything was surrounded by God and the Bible, you know, as much as possible, I guess. I couldn't tell you for a fact, because I mean, I wasn't there, but I can definitely know that it was more so than it is now, right? I think everyone can agree on that. But the decline of God being in the schools is probably right in line with, you know, decline of marriages, decline of safety in schools, and just stuff like that. And, you know, even if you're atheist and you completely disagree with me, you think that God shouldn't be in the school, I mean, most of your values and the things that you think are right, you know, just like morality in itself, all of that comes from the Bible. All of that comes from God. And whether you disagree with me or not, the things you enjoy are of a Christian culture. Like Christmas, that's of a Christian culture. And other, you know, the family unit, stuff like that. It's important to recognize that just because people's feelings can be hurt by an answer, it doesn't mean that you shouldn't say it, especially if it's right. So, that's what I think about that. I think your next line of thought would be, you know, what's your opinion on college and stuff? And I think you should go to college if you've decided on something like a job, and that job requires you to get some kind of education. Say you want to be somewhere in the medical field. Yeah, there's no other way to do that except college. Or you want to be a lawyer. Okay, yes. Gotta go study law. It makes sense. But if you kind of just don't know what you want yet, I see no real point in like racking up a ton of debt and going to take classes for aimlessly, you know. But if you have it down to like, you know, okay, I have like 10 occupations that I would really like to do, and those occupations happen to be something that requires college, okay, yes, makes sense. Go in there, do it. But I mean, the joke is so old of like, here, I'm gonna go get a 4-year degree, 6-year degree, 8-year degree, whatever, and people end up being like a bartender or a tattoo artist or something like that. One big thing I actually disagree with a lot is Christians sending their kids to public school. And you know, I get homeschooling is not an opportunity for everyone. Christian school is not not everybody has the opportunity to do these things, okay? So I'm not shaming anyone that can't do anything but send their kids to school, public school. But I mean, people take the verse, be the salt of the earth, and they take that out of context, and they're just like, yeah, that's what my kid's gonna be, and they kind of justify sending their kid out into the world like that, unprepared to deal with the awful nonsense that goes around. It goes on. Like, how's a kid gonna know how to deal with, like, just a ton of awful things? Like, I don't want to say anything in particular, but how's a kid gonna know how to deal with things like that? They're not. And then they're surprised that their kids don't want to go to church anymore, and they think that, what their friend Jimmy told them, that his, little atheist view is, like, superior to that of Christianity. It's just, like, obviously they're not going to be able to answer for anything. They don't know anything yet. The whole point is for them to become the salt of the earth, to become the light, and then spread it to others. But when a child's so malleable, they don't know anything yet, They have to be guided. They can't just be, like, let off the hook. I'm not a parent yet, so what do I gotta know, right? But that's just my 2 cents. You came here to hear my 2 cents, so I'm gonna give it to you. And I think sending your kids to public school can almost only result in something negative. So, I mean, my car's done. Doesn't look that great. Looks pretty good though. I love this car. I've owned like 21 cars, and I'm 21 years old. But I've owned 21 cars, and this has by far been my favorite car. My thing was kind of like buying cars, fixing them, selling them. I did that for a while, and when I came across this one, I'm like, man, it's just something about this thing. It's just like, it's in a league of its own. It just feels so good to drive it. So, it's not the fastest car. It's not the most spectacular. You can probably see in the phone, you can probably see the paint coming off where it shouldn't, Paint's coming off here, and there's a lot of work to do. But obviously I want to repaint it eventually. But man, this car has treated me good. Here's the final product. If you have any questions about this thing, I love talking about my stuff, my cars. So let me know. Got plenty to say about this thing.